At the very top of global wealth, money stops behaving like money. It becomes infrastructure designed to move nations, shape perception, and quietly enforce control. This is a world where assets don't serve comfort, but command. Watch until the end, because one detail in this story reveals how extreme wealth is engineered not to be seen, yet still governs everything around it. Extreme duality, absolute wealth versus public accessibility. The most confusing thing about extreme power is that it rarely behaves the way we expect. At the surface, absolute wealth should create distance layers of separation, silence, and invisibility. Yet in this case, the opposite appears to happen. One of the wealthiest rulers on earth, often labeled a trillionaire due to his family's vast economic control, occasionally chooses to be seen riding public transportation like an ordinary citizen. This is not contradiction. It is design. Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum's power does not come from a single balance sheet. His personal net worth is measured in the billions, but his real leverage comes from family-wide control over Dubai's economic engine, spanning real estate, aviation, logistics, tourism, and global trade. This scale of wealth removes the need for constant display. Instead, it enables something far more valuable: choice. When visibility is optional, every appearance becomes intentional. Behind the scenes, Sheikh Mohammed commands assets that operate far beyond conventional luxury. His mobility infrastructure includes private aircraft supported by state-level logistics, allowing him to move across continents without relying on commercial schedules or foreign systems. These aircraft are not indulgences, they are continuity tools, ensuring governance, diplomacy, and decision-making remain uninterrupted regardless of distance or crisis. At this level, speed is not about convenience, it is about control over time. And yet, that is precisely why the public moments matter. When Sheikh Mohammed appears on the Dubai metro, the value is not symbolic humility, it is image architecture. Public transportation becomes a stage where modernity, accessibility, and confidence are quietly reinforced. A leader who owns fleets, palaces, and private jets does not ride a metro to prove relatability. He does it to validate infrastructure, normalize progress, and signal trust in systems he built and controls. This duality, absolute luxury behind closed doors, deliberate simplicity in public, is not accidental. It sends two messages simultaneously. To global investors and foreign leaders, it signals unmatched capacity and stability. To citizens, it reinforces legitimacy and presence. Power here is not hidden, nor is it flaunted, it is modulated. The question then is not why someone this wealthy would appear ordinary. The real question is what kind of power allows someone to move seamlessly between both worlds without losing authority in either. Because when wealth reaches this scale, the most expensive asset is not a jet, a yacht, or a palace, it is the ability to decide how you are seen and when. What do you think carries more power today? Extreme visibility or complete control over when to disappear? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. The Dubai Royal Air Wing power that never stops moving. Power does not disappear when a leader is airborne. In fact, for the ultra-elite, true authority is measured by how seamlessly it continues at 37,000 feet. What appears, from the outside, to be private aviation indulgence is actually one of the most expensive and carefully engineered systems of control in the modern world. The Dubai Royal Air Wing is not a fleet, it is an operating environment. At its core, the Air Wing functions as a state-backed mobility network, combining diplomatic aircraft, ultra-long-range jets, and layered redundancy to ensure that governance, security, and international engagement never pause. Individual aircraft in this fleet are valued between $150 million and $400 million each, depending on configuration, range, and onboard systems. These jets are not optimized for comfort alone. They are designed to function as moving command centers, capable of secure communications, classified briefings, and real-time coordination with government and military infrastructure. Some aircraft are configured with medical-grade facilities, including emergency treatment rooms and isolation capability, ensuring operational continuity even under health risks. Others prioritize diplomatic transport, allowing confidential meetings to occur mid-flight without reliance on foreign airspace infrastructure. This is why these aircraft exist, not to shorten travel time, but to eliminate dependency. One of the most revealing patterns in the Air Wing's usage is the frequency of long-haul flights to private estates in Scotland. On paper, these trips resemble leisure travel. In reality, they solve multiple strategic problems at once. Remote estates offer jurisdictional privacy, insulation from media saturation, and predictable security parameters. The cost of maintaining these properties and supporting transcontinental aviation, often exceeding tens of millions of dollars annually, buys something far more valuable than luxury: controlled invisibility. Every flight also reinforces Dubai's identity as a global command hub. A ruler who can depart the Gulf, arrive in Europe, and conduct state-level affairs without touching commercial systems sends a quiet but powerful signal to investors and allies alike. Dubai is not peripheral, it is permanently connected, permanently reachable, and permanently operational. The most important detail is what the air wing avoids. There are no schedules exposed to public dependency, no reliance on civilian logistics chains, and no single aircraft that represents a point of failure. Redundancy is deliberate. Multiple jets with overlapping range and capability ensure that no disruption, technical, political, or environmental, can interrupt movement. At this altitude, aviation is no longer about travel, it is about sovereignty over motion itself. And when movement is fully controlled, geography loses its power. In the next part, this same philosophy of redundancy and control extends beyond the sky into the ocean, where mobility becomes invisible, silent, and far more difficult to track. The super yacht, Dubai, a floating symbol of national ambition. At sea, power becomes quieter but far more absolute. When borders fade and satellites thin out, control is no longer about visibility, it is about who can disappear while remaining fully operational. For Saudi Prince Salman, maritime assets are not indulgent trophies. They are floating extensions of sovereignty, engineered to function beyond the reach of conventional surveillance and diplomatic constraint. At the center of this strategy is an ultra-large superyacht, valued at approximately $500 million, constructed with military-grade compartmentalization and layered security zones. Unlike conventional luxury yachts built for leisure cruising, this vessel is designed around command continuity. Multiple decks are isolated through blast-resistant bulkheads, allowing movement and decision-making to continue even if one section is compromised. The yacht's propulsion and stabilization systems are engineered for extended deployment, enabling weeks at sea without external logistical support. What elevates this platform beyond standard Billionaire XS is its submersible integration. Stored within the yacht is a deep-sea submarine valued at roughly $30 million, capable of descending several hundred meters below the surface. This is not an adventure toy. It exists to create underwater mobility and discretion, allowing silent movement, private transfers, and unobservable maritime positioning. In geopolitical terms, it removes predictability. No port records, no aerial tracking, no surface signature. The operational cost of maintaining such a vessel exceeds $50 million per year, covering specialized crew, maritime security teams, encrypted communications infrastructure, and international compliance buffers. That expense buys something rare: jurisdictional ambiguity. When the yacht is in international waters, it exists outside the immediate authority of any single state, creating a neutral zone where negotiations, strategy sessions, and private diplomacy can occur without protocol pressure. Inside, luxury is secondary to function. Medical suites on board are equipped to hospital standards, ensuring medical independence during long deployments. Redundant power systems and water desalination units guarantee uninterrupted operation even in hostile environments. Every feature answers the same question: how does power continue if everything else fails? Even leisure elements serve strategic roles. The yacht's heliports, each adding tens of millions of dollars to total value, enable controlled ingress and egress without reliance on public infrastructure. Guests arrive selectively, movements remain unrecorded, privacy is not requested, it is engineered. This maritime philosophy reveals a deeper truth about modern ultra-wealth. At this level, assets are not symbols of success. They are systems designed to remove friction from borders, from visibility, from dependency. Control is no longer exercised loudly, it is exercised continuously. And in the next part, this logic of invisibility moves from water to land into fortified residences, where architecture itself becomes a defensive weapon and privacy is buried beneath concrete, steel, and silence. The world's largest private car collection scale as authority. At first glance, a car collection sounds like vanity. Rows of polished metal, engines sleeping under silk covers, value measured in horsepower and scarcity. But when a private collection surpasses 500 vehicles, the logic changes completely. This is no longer about taste. It becomes a system of authority, scale, and industrial signaling, one that operates far beyond the language of luxury. The collection associated with Saudi Prince Salman is valued conservatively at over $2 billion, not because of any single car, but because of its concentration of vehicles that most manufacturers will never sell to the public. Multiple Bugatti Veyrons, each priced between $2.5 and $3 million, exist here not as trophies but as statements of access. These are cars allocated through private relationships with manufacturers, often years before public announcements. Ownership signals proximity to production power, not retail wealth. More revealing are the ultra-limited hypercars. A Lamborghini Veneno, produced in fewer than 15 units worldwide, carries a valuation of approximately $4.5 million. A Ferrari Enzo, trading between $3 and $4 million, represents a closed chapter in Ferrari's engineering history, one that cannot be replicated or reissued. The McLaren P1, valued near $1.3 million, marks a turning point where hybrid technology became a performance weapon rather than a concession. Even rarer is the Lykan Hypersport, priced around $3.4 million, a vehicle built not for efficiency or speed, but for geopolitical symbolism, Middle Eastern exclusivity rendered in carbon fiber. Yet the cars themselves are only part of the story. What truly separates this collection from any billionaire garage is control over identity. Special ruler-only license plates unavailable for purchase at any price turn each vehicle into a moving declaration of sovereignty. These plates override regional norms, bypass auction systems, and exist purely by authority. The car does not ask permission to be recognized. It is recognized by default. Customization further reinforces this hierarchy. Bespoke interiors, unique paint formulas, and manufacturer-exclusive mechanical adjustments add millions in hidden value. These modifications are not listed on invoices. They exist outside catalog pricing, negotiated at the level of leadership rather than commerce. In this ecosystem, the buyer does not choose from options the factory adapts. Operationally, maintaining such a fleet requires infrastructure rivaling a small industrial complex. Climate-controlled hangars, private test tracks, rotating engineering teams, and security protocols push annual upkeep costs beyond $100 million. That expense sustains readiness, not display. Vehicles remain functional, deployable, and interchangeable across environments. In this context, the collection stops being about driving. It becomes about demonstrating industrial reach, cultural command, and the ability to mobilize symbols of power instantly. Each car is a node in a larger network, one that blends manufacturing influence, national branding, and absolute discretion. And in the next part, this philosophy of controlled excess extends even further into assets that do not move on roads at all, but instead disappear beneath the surface, where visibility ends and power becomes silent. Horses, endurance, and Arabian heritage. Steel, carbon fiber, and jet fuel dominate most billionaire narratives, but real power does not survive on machines alone. When wealth reaches a level where technology can be bought instantly, legacy becomes the scarce asset. This is where horses enter the picture, not as hobbies, but as instruments of continuity, legitimacy, and long-term influence. Saudi Prince Salman's equestrian world operates on a scale closer to a sovereign institution than a sport. His endurance, racing, and thoroughbred operations are valued at well over $3 billion when land, bloodstock, infrastructure, and training networks are combined. These horses are not ornamental, they are biological assets engineered across generations, each carrying bloodlines that cannot be replicated quickly, regardless of money. At the core of this system is endurance riding, one of the most physically demanding equestrian disciplines on Earth. A single elite endurance horse can cost between $500,000 and $1.5 million, depending on lineage, stamina metrics, and recovery data. Training such a horse requires specialized desert facilities, veterinary science teams, GPS-monitored conditioning programs, and international logistics. Annual upkeep per elite horse regularly exceeds $200,000, not including transport and competition fees. This discipline rewards patience, climate mastery, and deep regional knowledge qualities that align perfectly with desert leadership narratives. Beyond endurance, the thoroughbred racing empire expands the strategy globally. Prince Salman's racing operations span Europe, the Middle East, and Australia, with training hubs, breeding farms, and private transport corridors. A single championship-caliber stallion can be valued between $20 and $40 million, while top broodmares trade at $5 to $10 million each. These animals generate recurring influence through stud rights, auction leverage, and diplomatic visibility at the world's most elite racecourses. Victory here is not just sport, it is reputation converted into international soft power. Infrastructure completes the equation. Purpose-built equestrian complexes complete with climate-controlled stables, on-site surgical suites, recovery pools, and private airstrips can cost $150 to $300 million per facility. These spaces allow uninterrupted operation regardless of climate, season, or political context. Horses travel via customized cargo aircraft, often costing $1 million per international transport cycle, ensuring zero exposure to public risk. Why invest at this level? Because horses bridge a critical gap machines cannot. They connect modern authority to ancient identity. In regions where lineage, land, and tradition still define legitimacy, equestrian dominance functions as cultural proof of stewardship. It says this power did not appear overnight and will not vanish quickly. In the next part, this philosophy of continuity evolves again, this time into assets designed not to race across land, but to remain invisible, fortified, and operational even when the world above becomes unstable. Metro rides, diplomacy, and strategic visibility. Power is often measured by distance, how far leaders separate themselves from ordinary life, but the most calculated form of authority sometimes does the opposite. When Saudi Prince Salman's peers fortify themselves behind convoys and restricted airspace, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum occasionally steps into a place no one expects, a public metro carriage. That choice looks casual. It is not. A single surprise appearance on the Dubai Metro may cost only a few dollars in ticket value, but the infrastructure behind that moment is worth more than $7.6 billion, the estimated construction cost of the full metro system. By boarding it publicly, Sheikh Mohammed is not traveling, he is validating an asset. The footage, carefully captured and widely shared, functions as a live endorsement. It tells investors, citizens, and foreign governments that this system is secure enough, efficient enough, and symbolic enough for the ruler himself. That signal is more powerful than any press release. Security does not disappear in these moments. It becomes invisible. Plainclothes protection teams, pre-cleared stations, real-time surveillance integration, and rapid response units operate in the background. These protocols mirror those used for private aviation, where a single Dubai Royal Air Wing flight can cost $30,000 to $50,000 per hour. The difference is narrative. On the metro, security reinforces accessibility rather than separation. Authority feels shared, not imposed. This logic extends internationally. When Sheikh Mohammed attends global events such as World Expos or diplomatic summits, he often arrives aboard long-range Boeing or Airbus VIP aircraft valued between $250 million and $350 million, configured with secure communications, private briefing suites, and medical response capability. These jets are not luxury indulgences, they are mobile governance platforms. They allow uninterrupted decision-making across continents, maintaining operational continuity regardless of time zone or crisis. His private estates in the United Kingdom further illustrate this strategy. Properties valued collectively above $100 million are not retreats alone. They anchor diplomatic relationships, enable discreet meetings, and provide proximity to global financial and political centers. Travel between these estates and Dubai is choreographed to balance visibility and discretion, public when signaling openness, private when control is paramount. The contrast with Mohammed bin Salman, Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, is instructive. MBS travels with heavily militarized convoys, restricted airspace, and large-scale logistical shadows. That model emphasizes command through force and deterrence. Sheikh Mohammed's approach emphasizes command through confidence. By stepping into public systems he owns and oversees, he communicates stability. The system works because he built it to work. Every transport mode feeds a single narrative system. The $500 million superyacht Dubai projects maritime dominance and diplomatic hospitality. The car collection exceeding 500 vehicles, valued well beyond $100 million, demonstrates industrial patronage and cultural scale. Horses valued at millions per bloodline reinforce heritage and continuity, and the metro ride costing almost nothing may be the most valuable symbol of all. Because when absolute wealth chooses visibility over distance, it reframes power itself. It says control does not require hiding. Comment below, which form of power do you think is more effective today? Visible authority or invisible control? What this private life ultimately reveals is a playbook, not a lifestyle. First, extreme wealth in Asia is used to collapse distance. Private aviation, mobile assets, and controlled movement ensure decisions are never delayed by geography or systems outside one's control. Time becomes obedient. Second, power is reinforced through selective visibility. Appearances are not spontaneous, they are strategic. By choosing when to be seen and when to disappear, influence is amplified while risk is minimized. Accessibility becomes a message, not a concession. Third, legacy is built through integration, not isolation. Tradition, modern infrastructure, and global diplomacy are woven together, so wealth supports long-term authority rather than short-term display. Assets are chosen for durability, cultural, political, and historical, not resale value. If you found this perspective valuable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. In the next episode, we'll go even deeper, examining how another circle of ultra-powerful figures uses money not just to rule territory, but to shape the future itself.